Exodus. Chapter 7. And Jehovah said to Moses, See, I have made you God to Pharaoh, and Aaron your brother will be your prophet. You shall speak all that I command you, and Aaron your brother shall speak to Pharaoh, that he let the children of Israel go out of his land. And I will harden Pharaoh's heart and will multiply my signs and my wonders in the land of Egypt. But Pharaoh will not listen to you, and I will lay my hand upon Egypt and bring forth my armies, my people the children of Israel, out of the land of Egypt by great acts of judgment. And the Egyptians will know that I am Jehovah, when I stretch forth my hand upon Egypt and bring out the children of Israel from among them. And Moses and Aaron did so, as Jehovah commanded them, so did they do. And Moses was 80 years old and Aaron 83 years old when they spoke to Pharaoh. And Jehovah spoke to Moses and to Aaron, saying, When Pharaoh speaks to you, saying, Perform a wonder, then you shall say to Aaron, Take your staff, and throw it down before Pharaoh, so that it becomes a serpent. And Moses and Aaron came to Pharaoh, and they did just as Jehovah had commanded, and Aaron threw down his staff before Pharaoh and before his servants, and it became a serpent. Then Pharaoh also called for the wise men and the sorcerers, and they also, the magicians of Egypt, did the same with their secret spells. That is, each one threw down his staff, and they became serpents. But Aaron's staff swallowed up their staffs. And Pharaoh's heart hardened, and he did not listen to them, just as Jehovah had said. Then Jehovah said to Moses, Pharaoh's heart is stubborn, he refuses to let the people go. Go to Pharaoh in the morning as he is going out to the water, and stand on the bank of the river to meet him. And you shall take in your hand the staff which was turned into a serpent. And you shall say to him, Jehovah, the God of the Hebrews, has sent me to you, saying, Let my people go that they may serve me in the wilderness. But until this very moment you have not listened. Thus says Jehovah, By this you will know that I am Jehovah. I am now going to strike the water which is in the river with the staff that is in my hand, and it will be turned to blood. And the fish that are in the river will die, and the river will become foul, and the Egyptians will loathe drinking water from the river. And Jehovah said to Moses, Say to Aaron, Take your staff, and stretch out your hand over the waters of Egypt, over their rivers, over their watercourses, and over their pools, and over all their reservoirs of water, that they may become blood, and there shall be blood throughout all the land of Egypt, even in vessels of wood and in vessels of stone. And Moses and Aaron did just as Jehovah commanded, and he lifted up the staff and struck the water that was in the river in the sight of Pharaoh and in the sight of his servants, and all the water that was in the river was turned to blood. And the fish that were in the river died, and the river became foul, and the Egyptians could not drink water from the river, and the blood was throughout all the land of Egypt. And the magicians of Egypt did the same with their secret spells, and Pharaoh's heart hardened, and he did not listen to them, just as Jehovah had said. And Pharaoh turned and went into his house, and he did not take even this to heart. And all the Egyptians dug around the river for water to drink, for they could not drink of the water of the river. And 7 days passed after Jehovah had struck the river. Exodus. Chapter 8. Then Jehovah said to Moses, Go to Pharaoh, and say to him, Thus says Jehovah, Let my people go that they may serve me. But if you refuse to let them go, I am now going to smite all your territory with frogs. And the river shall swarm with frogs, and they will go up from the river and come into your house and into your bedchamber and upon your bed, and into the houses of your servants and upon your people, and into your ovens and into your kneading bowls. And the frogs shall come up upon you and upon your people and upon all your servants. And Jehovah said to Moses, Say to Aaron, Stretch out your hand with your staff over the rivers, over the watercourses, and over the pools, and make frogs come up on the land of Egypt. So Aaron stretched out his hand over the waters of Egypt, and the frogs came up and covered the land of Egypt. And the magicians did the same with their secret spells and brought up frogs on the land of Egypt. Then Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron and said, Entreat Jehovah to take away the frogs from me and from my people, and I will let the people go to sacrifice to Jehovah. And Moses said to Pharaoh, May it please you, and not me, as to the time. When shall I make entreaty for you and for your servants and for your people, to cut off the frogs from you and from your houses so that they remain in the river only? And he said, Tomorrow. And he said, It will be according to your word, that you may know that there is no one like Jehovah our God. And the frogs shall depart from you and from your houses and from your servants and from your people, they shall remain in the river only. Then Moses and Aaron went out from Pharaoh, and Moses cried out to Jehovah concerning the frogs which he had brought upon Pharaoh. And Jehovah did according to the word of Moses, and the frogs died in the houses, in the courts, and in the fields. And they gathered them together, heap after heap, and the land stank. But when Pharaoh saw that there was respite, he hardened his heart and did not listen to them, just as Jehovah had said. And Jehovah said to Moses, Say to Aaron, Stretch out your staff, and strike the dust of the earth, that it may become lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And they did so, and Aaron stretched out his hand with his staff and struck the dust of the earth, and there were lice on man and on beast, all the dust of the earth became lice throughout all the land of Egypt. And the magicians did the same with their secret spells, to try to bring forth lice, but they could not, so there were lice on man and on beast. Then the magician said to Pharaoh, This is the finger of God. But Pharaoh's heart hardened, and he did not listen to them, just as Jehovah had said. Then Jehovah said to Moses, Rise up early in the morning, and present yourself before Pharaoh as he is going out to the water, and say to him, Thus says Jehovah, Let my people go that they may serve me. For if you will not let my people go, then I will at once send swarms of flies against you and against your servants and against your people and against your houses, and the houses of the Egyptians will be full of swarms of flies, as well as the ground on which they are. But on that day I will set apart the land of Goshen, where my people are staying, so that no swarms of flies will be there, so that you may know that I am Jehovah in the midst of the land. And I will put redemption between my people and your people. Tomorrow this sign shall occur. And Jehovah did so, and heavy swarms of flies came into the house of Pharaoh and into his servants' houses, and throughout the land of Egypt the land was ruined because of the swarms of flies. And Pharaoh called for Moses and for Aaron and said, Go, sacrifice to your God in the land. And Moses said, It would not be right to do so, for we will sacrifice to Jehovah our God what is an abomination to the Egyptians. If we sacrifice what is an abomination to the Egyptians before their eyes, will they not stone us? We must go a 3 days' journey into the wilderness and sacrifice to Jehovah our God just as he commands us. And Pharaoh said, I will let you go that you may sacrifice to Jehovah your God in the wilderness, only you shall not go very far away. Make entreaty for me. And Moses said, I am now going out from you, and I will entreat Jehovah that the swarms of flies would depart from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people tomorrow, only do not let Pharaoh deal deceitfully any more by not letting the people go to sacrifice to Jehovah. So Moses went out from Pharaoh and entreated Jehovah. And Jehovah did according to the word of Moses, and he removed the swarms of flies from Pharaoh, from his servants, and from his people, not one remained. However Pharaoh hardened his heart at this time also, and he did not let the people go. Exodus Chapter 9. Then Jehovah said to Moses, Go to Pharaoh, and speak to him, Thus says Jehovah, the God of the Hebrews, Let my people go that they may serve me. For if you refuse to let them go and still retain them, then the hand of Jehovah is going to be on your livestock which are in the field, on the horses, on the donkeys, on the camels, on the herds, and on the flocks with a very severe pestilence. And Jehovah will make a distinction between the livestock of Israel and the livestock of Egypt, so that nothing will die of all that belongs to the children of Israel. And Jehovah set an appointed time, saying, Tomorrow Jehovah will do this thing in the land. And Jehovah did this thing on the next day, and all the livestock of Egypt died, but of the livestock of the children of Israel not one died. And Pharaoh sent to inquire, and indeed there was not so much as one of the livestock of the Israelites dead. But the heart of Pharaoh was stubborn, and he did not let the people go. Then Jehovah said to Moses and to Aaron, Take handfuls of ashes from a furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it toward heaven in the sight of Pharaoh. And it will become fine dust over all the land of Egypt, and will become boils breaking out with sores on man and on beast throughout all the land of Egypt. So they took ashes from the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses sprinkled it toward heaven, and it became boils breaking forth with sores on man and on beast. And the magicians could not stand before Moses because of the boils, for the boils were on the magicians as well as on all the Egyptians. And Jehovah hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he did not listen to them, just as Jehovah had spoken to Moses. Then Jehovah said to Moses, Rise up early in the morning, and present yourself before Pharaoh, and say to him, Thus says Jehovah, the God of the Hebrews, Let my people go that they may serve me. For this time I am going to send all my plagues against you and on your servants and on your people, so that you may know that there is no one like me in all the earth. For if by now I had stretched out my hand and struck you and your people with pestilence, you would have been cut off from the earth. But indeed for this cause I have made you stand, to show you my power and to have my name proclaimed throughout all the earth. You are still exalting yourself against my people by not letting them go. Tomorrow about this time I am going to cause very heavy hail to fall, such as has never occurred in Egypt since the day it was founded even until now. Now therefore send men and secure your livestock and all that you have in the field, every man and beast that is found in the field and is not brought home when the hail comes down shall die. He who feared the word of Jehovah among the servants of Pharaoh made his servants and his livestock flee into the houses. But he who did not pay attention to the word of Jehovah left his servants and his livestock in the field. And Jehovah said to Moses, Stretch out your hand toward heaven that there may be hail throughout all the land of Egypt, upon man and upon beast and upon all the vegetation of the field in the land of Egypt. And Moses stretched out his staff toward heaven, and Jehovah sent thunder and hail, and fire came down on the earth, and Jehovah rained hail upon the land of Egypt. So there was very heavy hail with fire flashing continually in the midst of the hail, such as had not occurred in all the land of Egypt since it became a nation. And the hail struck everything that was in the field, both man and beast, throughout all the land of Egypt, and the hail struck all the vegetation of the field and shattered every tree of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, was there no hail. And Pharaoh sent a messenger and called for Moses and Aaron, and he said to them, I have sinned this time, Jehovah is the righteous one, and I and my people are in the wrong. Entreat Jehovah, for there has been enough of God's thunder and hail, and I will let you go, and you shall stay no longer. And Moses said to him, As soon as I have gone out of the city, I will spread out my hands to Jehovah, the thunder will cease, and there will not be any more hail, that you may know that the earth is Jehovah's. But as for you and your servants, I know that you do not yet fear Jehovah God. Now the flax and the barley were ruined, for the barley was in the ear, and the flax was in bud. But the wheat and the spelt were not ruined, for they had not come up. And Moses went out of the city from Pharaoh and spread out his hands to Jehovah, and the thunder and hail ceased, and the rain no longer poured down on the earth. But when Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunder had ceased, he sinned again and hardened his heart, he and his servants. So Pharaoh's heart hardened, and he did not let the children of Israel go, just as Jehovah had spoken through Moses.